Good Sunday morning to you. This is Judy Krause coming from sunny Phoenix, Arizona. Today we're going to talk about self-image. But before that, I wanted to say today is my husband's 78th birthday, and his daughter came from Minnesota and surprised us all. So we've had birthday party all weekend. And last night we went to the polka dances. My good friend Julie and I, when we were in 8th grade, 9th grade, we used to go to the polka dances all the time. We loved it. Well, my husband loves polka music. And he's a very, very lucky man because his daughter bought us tickets to the polka dance, and we had a great time. So last night we were there and we were going to dance, and we haven't done this forever, and I'm not supposed to be doing that. If my physical therapist knew I was doing that, he'd kill me. But it's okay. It was fun. We had a great time. He's a very lucky man because he's married to a 24-year-old and he's 78. So, you can't beat that. Not going to say anything else about that. Okay, so we've talked about your comfort zone and how important it is. And then we've talked about expectations, what you expect, what you think about the most. That's the direction. Whatever you think about the most is the direction that you are moving in for your life. And then we talked about motivation, what's your motivation for your life. Today's the most important thing. We're going to talk about self-image. And this, to me, is the most important discovery that the psychologists made about the self-image and the importance of it. And one of the first things, everything that I talk to you about comes from Dr. Dennis Waitley. He is such a phenomenal man and did so much research on all these different aspects of your life. And I learned so much from him. And so most everything that I do comes from him. And there is some from Earl Nightingale also, which was someone that he worked with. So, self-image. One of the things he says first is that it's not who you are or what you are. It's what you think you are not that holds you back. And I know that's true in my own life. When I don't think I'm up to something, then I'm not going to perform there. And so I think that that's a very important part of our life. And then what you think about yourself, that's your image. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about you. It's what you think about you. And that's the level that you're going to perform on. So the image that you have of yourself lingers long after the reality is gone. And so that's something that we have to learn about ourselves, that the image that we create for ourselves is the image that is going to stick with us and other people are going to see, because that's what we're going to put out there. Now, he says you can't outgrow the limits that you've set on yourself. And we all set those. But you just create new limits. And then you work up to those. And that's why everything is line upon line, precept upon precept. If you have an image of yourself and you're not performing the way you really would like to, then you have to change that image of yourself. You have to change. You have to up your limits. And if you up them too high, then you're just going to fail. So you just up them a little bit. It's like turning up the heater in the house. You turn it up a couple degrees. You work up to that level, you get comfortable at that level, and then you turn it up again. Now, this is my favorite part. The self-image lives in your subconscious. So you have two parts of your brain. You have the judge, which is the conscious part of your brain. It's the level of thinking. It's responsible for collecting information from the environment and storing it in the memory bank. Your subconscious is your memory bank. Anything you store in there never leaves. It's always there. And it can always be reached at one time or another. They talk about a test they did where they put electrodes in different parts of people's brains. And it, like this one lady, she remembered everything about her 5th birthday party when they put the electrode there. The smells, the voices, the taste of the cake, blowing out the candles, everything. All those memories are there, and they're very clear. So everything you think is stored in your memory bank. Now, the judge is the conscious part of the mind. So that's the ruler. That's the one that tells you what to do. In the memory bank, you put everything you see, everything that goes on around you, and in the end, it's the subconscious that rules you. Because you put all these feelings, all these actions, everything that happens is there. Now, there's a story in here he tells about that I think is that I relate to, because I used to golf before I ruined my back. So, but he talks about a golfer. Okay, a golfer has a certain handicap, and that's where he golfs at. And he knows he's okay there. He feels confident there. So one day he goes out on the golf course, and he golfs way better than he ever has on the first 9 holes. Well, that scares him. So immediately he goes back down on the second 9 to where he was. So on the first 9, he got a really great score, but way greater than he should have. So in the second 9, then his score goes back to where he thinks he should be, because that's his self-image of himself. That's how he sees himself. He sees himself as that's his handicap, and he can't play beyond that. He won't play below it, but he can't play beyond it. So the robot is a subconscious level. It's responsible for I can't ever say this word, autonomic body control, breathing, heartbeat, things like that. Okay, so it does things automatically. The conscious part of your brain is where you bring the information in. In the end, it's everything. It's what you think about yourself. It's who you are is what you see is what you get. Okay, who you think you are is the person that you feel you are. And that's the image that you project. You know, I had a really difficult time with that after I got divorced from my first husband, because what happened to me there, when somebody beats you so badly, it's total rejection. And there's nothing worse than having someone that you're married to reject you in that manner. And so it took me a long time to change that. And so I had to change the level of thinking that I was at about myself, because for many years I thought that I was totally worthless and no good, and nobody would ever want anything to do with me. So I had to get over that. And those things don't happen in 5 minutes. They take work on your part. So it's the image that you put in your subconscious that comes out in everything that you do, no matter what it is. It always comes out. And I have this, well, I wanted to tell you about this little story quickly. There was a study that they did, a psychological study they did with grammar school kids. And the teacher told them that everyone with blue eyes was faster mentally and learned quicker. And everyone with brown eyes, didn't perform as well. And they each had a little sign, either they were blue eyes or brown eyes. Okay, they had to wear their little tag every day. It didn't matter what color their eyes really were, which is part of the experiment. Over the next 2 weeks, the kids that had the blue-eyed tags performed phenomenally and way above their level, and the brown-eyed ones didn't. And so then the teacher comes and says, "Oh, I made a mistake. It's the ones with the brown eyes that are faster and think better and do better, and the blue-eyed ones that just don't perform as well." And so then everything switched, and the blue-eyed kids couldn't perform the way they had the week before. And so it's the power of suggestion. And it's not suggestion from somebody else. Everything comes from within. So it's always suggestion for what you think about yourself. It's what you put in your subconscious that matters, because it's never going to go away. I always use the example of Olympic stars, and I think pretty much they all do the same thing. But I remember watching Lindsey Vonn on TV at the Olympics and showing the pictures that she had drawn and put on her wall when she was 9 years old. And she pictured herself winning the Olympic medal. And she drew a picture of herself with a medal around her neck. So that was the image that she put in of herself. And a child is so new to the world that they don't really know the difference between reality and imagination. Imagination's everything. She always imagined herself as that. And it was a daily thing. Well, where did she end up? She won the Olympics. And so I kind of want to close with this little poem. And if you want a copy of the poem, just go to my website and send me an email, and I'll send you a copy of it. Okay, now, self-image is the subconscious mind. It's your robot. The conscious mind is your judge. The judge should control the robot. But that is not the case. No action ever takes place without the robot. Some actions can take place without the judge, the autonomic ones. But nothing ever happens without the robot. And this is from a little schoolgirl that wrote this. It says, the title of it's My Robot. I have a little robot that goes around with me. I tell him what I'm thinking. I tell him what I see. I tell my little robot all my hopes and fears. He listens and remembers all my joys and tears. At first, my little robot followed my command. But after years of training, he's gotten out of hand. He doesn't care what's right or wrong, or what's false or true. No matter what I try now, he tells me what to do. So remember that the image that you put into your memory bank is what's going to come out in everything that you do. And to me, the self-image is the most important thing that we possess. And so it's the one thing that you really want to work on. So, good Sunday morning, everybody. Gotta go. Bye-bye.